Sure you can.
Hi.
Hi everybody, Kelly and Ashley back again with a new installment, so to speak, of flood insurance myths. We'd like to just take a brief opportunity to say thank you very much to Denise for telling us how we have to set the phone up so we could get this lovely landscape thing as opposed to being on top of each other with that like up and down phone thing. But regardless, we're going to kick this off with the poll that we put up on Facebook. What was it, about a week or two ago?
Yeah, last week we posted a poll. You could either vote yes or no, and we asked, if my house is flooded, will my homeowner's policy respond to cover my personal property? So
Now, apparently people have been paying attention when we talk, so the correct answer is no, your homeowner's policy will not respond, as flood is an excluded peril. It is a separate policy that you all should look into getting because it can flood anytime, anywhere. And we're about to get to that with the flood myths and some of the explanations and debunking all of this.
okay, so myth number 1, you can't buy flood insurance if you are located in a high risk flood area.
That is absolutely false. You absolutely can buy flood insurance. The question becomes how much you're going to spend for the flood insurance in and of itself. There are private markets that have been popping up. There are regulations going on with the federal government. There's subsidies. There's grandfathering. There's an entire plethora of things. So don't let the fact that you're right on top of a canal or on the Great South Bay or anything like that stop you from picking up the phone, giving us a call, and having us walk you through the entire process. Because yes, you can get flood insurance.
Okay, myth number 2, you can buy flood insurance during a flood.
No, false. You can't buy flood insurance for just because you see that a hurricane or a massive storm or something is coming. What it generally comes down to is a 30-day waiting period for the FEMA-backed policies, and some private market carriers will allow you just a 14-day waiting period. Now, if this is for a loan closing, such as you're buying a house, you're closing on a mortgage or refinance, something like that, they will waive that waiting period. But you can't get it just because you see a storm that's coming up the coastline. It's not going to happen.
Okay, next myth. Homeowners insurance policies cover flood damage.
No, absolutely false. Homeowner policies, for the most part, exclude flood. There are a few carriers that are now coming out that will offer certain flood coverages, but those are very few and far between. For the most part, you are not going to have any flood coverage on your standard homeowner policy. So if you're required to have it, give us a call.
So if you answered no to our poll, then you got it right.
See? They pay attention.
The next myth, you can't buy flood insurance if your property has been flooded in the past.
This is absolutely false. You can buy flood insurance. We encourage you to buy flood insurance. The problem becomes if your property is what's called a severe repetitive loss, i.e. you've had X amount of losses, you've had multiple losses on your particular property, then you have to go into a different program, but it's still available. People who got flooded during Sandy, absolutely no problem placing them. Sandy and Irene, sure, got your back. Even if you've been flooded like once a year for the past 15 years, we can get you the insurance. It's just which program we have to place you with.
Okay. The next myth, only residents of high flood risk areas need to buy flood insurance.
Does everybody remember, what was it, Harvey?
Yes.
Yeah, Hurricane Harvey down in Texas. Hurricane Harvey hit and flooded mostly X-zone or the so-called low-risk areas. These people, for the most part, did not have flood insurance. Even if you think that you're in a low-risk zone or that you're never going to get flooded, it's false. It's false. You can flood anytime, anywhere. It's very important that you have this coverage because a lot of people think that, oh, well, I'm in a low-risk zone or I'm not near the water, I'm not going to be flooded. And we saw it with Harvey, we saw it with Maria, we saw it with Irene. We saw it with the August 13, 2014 storm. So it's a fallacy, and people need to start thinking of protecting their big asset.
And I just want to talk about in recent news with Hershey Park being underwater last week. That was from no hurricane. That was just from torrential rain, and that is nowhere near the ocean.
That's also Ellicott, Maryland. It flooded twice, 2017, 2018, same area, and a lot of that is the next zone as well.
Yeah, and you would never think that's flooded, but it just shows everyone lives in a flood zone. It just depends what zone you're in. Okay, so the next myth is flood insurance is only available through FEMA.
No. FEMA carries the bulk of flood insurance at this point in time, but there are a lot of private markets that are coming through. Sometimes, more often than not, their rates are going to be more competitive than a FEMA rate if you can get into the program. So you'd need to contact us in order to determine the options as to whether or not you fall into the category that can get that private market.
The next myth is federal disaster assistance will pay for my flood damage.
No. They'll give you a loan, and then you have to pay back the loan with interest, and when you get that loan, they're also going to require that you get the flood insurance to back the loan, so to speak. So don't rely on the federal government to bail you out when you should be proactive and looking after yourself. It's really a last resort thing, and it will cost you more in the end.
The next myth is flood insurance is only available to homeowners.
No. If you rent a home, if you rent an apartment, you could get contents only coverage. Condos, you can not only get contents only coverage, you can get coverage on the building, which will actually, on your condo unit, I mean to say, which will actually be used in the event of a loss on the entire condo unit. So you can get coverage even if you rent, you don't own, you have a condo, you have a townhouse, you absolutely can get coverage.
Okay. So we're at the end of all our myths, so hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about the basics of flood insurance, and always leave us a comment with any questions you guys have, or you can always call us.
And we'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. Bye.